Professor, take us to the Moshi Arusha meeting where everyone was waiting for the good news of choosing
Rude.
Yeah.
So, I told you, Bishop Okos, you'll get his name correctly, but I think I'm not correct that he's Okos.
Yeah.
He had now an Okos, Obo, whatever. Anyhow, so Nyanzi now is in the chair. So he said, now I call for nominations. We read out the post chairman, minister, chairman of the Commission for Finance, who would be Minister of Finance, military or whatever. So he said the first post is chairman of the UNLF, which we had agreed to set up. And before nobody could say, the bishop put up his hand and he stood also, so that nobody could mistake that he's the one to speak first. So he said, I nominate a Ugandan.
Now you're quoting him.
I'm quoting him.
Very good.
Nominate a Ugandan who is a great fighter, revolutionary. The man to whom we owe even this meeting. And as I speak now, he has come from the front. You will discover he is now in a military uniform, although he is a civilian. So is it really that? Is it really that? I nominate Sir, Mr. Sir, Chairman. I nominate Pablo Mwanga.
Oh my goodness.
I think it was the Deputy Justice Oteng, who was also representing UPC. I second. Within seconds.
What was your response? You people were seconding Dule.
Sam Sebagereka stood up crying. He said, this is the man who has been responsible for killing many Ugandans. He is a stooge of himself, of a body. How can he become chairman? He cried. I'm not the one who's on emotion. Sebagereka cried. Then I whispered to Kaira. I said, please, the rules nominate Rule. So Kaira said, I want to nominate a second candidate, Rule. Now, Rule was nominated. I forget who seconded him. Then Nyanzi was brilliant. Really, he's dead, but Moshi owes a lot to Nyanzi and to Kaira. So Nyanzi said he knew the Tanzanians wanted Rule. So he was in a dilemma. We have two candidates. Or somebody called. I proposed that the nomination closed. So they closed.
Someone proposed that.
Yes, somebody proposed.
So you had so far got two candidates.
Two candidates.
Yeah.
Rule
and Paulo Mwanga.
And Paulo Mwanga. So Nyanzi, brilliant politician, brilliant scholar, brilliant civil servant. He was flexible.
Yeah.
The meeting was in quandary. Total confusion.
Because you never expected anyone to nominate any other person.
Nobody did. Not even the Tanzanians. But the UPC are very clever. They knew he had no support. But I'll tell you why they did. Now, so Nyanzi said, now that we have nominated two, we have confused our hosts. The Tanzanian accepted the smooth running of this conference. Now we are nominating two, we are going to be divided. So I suggest we adjourn
the meeting.
Yes, and consult so that we come up with only one candidate.
That was a brilliant idea.
It was a brilliant idea.
So it was a great move.
It was a great move.
Yeah.
And it succeeded. So that's what we did. Now, he's still alive.
Yes.
I'll tell you. I tell you this, politics is a very bad game.
So,
now we adjourned.
You set other dates for the meeting?
No. We adjourned for about an hour.
1 hour only?
Only.
Okay.
While we consult. And so, among us, we knew what Paul Mwanga was. He had been criticized for stealing money when he was ambassador in Cairo.
He stole money?
And that's, yes, he stole money. And many of us said, how can we trust this man to be the chairman?
How can you trust
and
a thief?
eventually be president of Uganda when he's a thief? But what was dramatic is when we assembled, Dr. Martin Alike, who was one of us, stood up. I don't know, up to now, you people, you go and ask him, he's still alive. He stood up and he said, while you people you are consulting, some of us went to State House, Dar es Salaam, and had a discussion with the Mwalimu. And it is the Tanzanian government authority that if you elect Lule as your chairman,
as the leader,
they will call him to State House for further consultations with making a government in exile. But if you elect Mwanga, please pack your bags and leave Tanzania.
Wow.
Leave Tanzania.
Openly like that.
Yeah, you are not serious. You are not serious people. You don't represent anybody in Uganda. And Tanzania are prepared to assist you to leave the country peacefully. Find another meeting where you can play your games from here.
He said that in the meeting?
In the general meeting when we assembled.
What was the response of the congregation?
So, I think the first one to speak, if I remember correctly, was either who is his previous leader? He was there of the opposition of UPC, who used to be Minister of Foreign Affairs. He's around here. Akena is now the president of
you want to
who was the one before him?
Olaro Tunu?
Yeah, Olaro Tunu.
Ambassador
Olaro Tunu stood up and he said, under the circumstances, I think we better reconsider for 2 minutes. So Nyanza adjourned the meeting for 5 minutes. Yeah, for 2 minutes. 5 minutes. And then when he came back, he said, for us, UPC, we are happy to support Lule, provided our candidate, from, what is his name? Paulo Mwanga, is considered for another important post. They were all clapped, because he was...
So he was dropped?
He wasn't blocked, it was blocked. They all knew he would never be, as I'm going to tell you. They knew he wasn't going to be elected anyway. But they wanted the Mwanga to be very important. As later on, you see what happened. The UPC was the most experienced political party and was highly represented by people like Lubuliza, Mwanga, people like Olaro Tunu, Omaro Tubu, Justice Otenge, all those were UPC. And they were very experienced. So I tell you what had happened. They were aware that Paul Mwanga, everything they were saying about was correct. But they used him as a carrot to get the prize of the UNLF, which we didn't know at the time. So, tuwangude. There was some baganda. Tuwangude.
Those were statements from...
Yes, so he said, Nyanzi said, now that the UPC main position has withdrawn, I don't see any other opposition against Rule.
So he qualifies.
I declare him
the winner,
chairman of the UNDF. For me, stayed there calmly. Half of them left to go and congratulate Rule. He was not in the meeting, but he was nearby. Yes, so they went there. Meanwhile, the Gang of Four and everybody planned. This appoint, elect the other. By the time we finished the bureau, 3/4 were anti-Rule members.
3/4 of the congregation?
No, of the people they elected.
Okay.
So they elected the people like Atemali Madi, Jalu, like that, who are UPC. So Rule had the one as a neutral. The body they were giving him was hostile to him. That's why he didn't last long.
So they would fail him.
Yes, they would fail him.
Yeah.
And then when it came to who is going to be the chairman of the military commission, that's why the prize that the UPC was looking for all the time. They had planned 2 years that the ruling will not last.
So they knew.
So how can we remove him if we have the chairman of the military commission? So when it came to the bureau and who should chair the military commission, one of the UPC put up his hand and said, I propose Paulo Mwanga. We have conceded on the chairmanship. He was one of the best who should lead this group. But in the spirit of reconciliation, I suggest we make him the chairman of the military commission. Do you know that even I agreed?
Are you sure?
Yeah, unanimous.
But did he have the military training before?
Who?
Paulo Mwanga.
You don't need the military, but you are the chairman.
Because you said he came putting on military attire.
Because didn't they take us, didn't they remove us? It is through the military commission that there was the resolution Rule should be removed as president up to 30 days, or rather 3 months. And that's what happened.
Yeah.
And the UPC used Mwanga to remove Rule. And he first became my de facto president.
Yeah.
That was the whole point. All along they knew that after revolution of that kind, the only one with a muscle is one who was the military. Oito Joke, who must have been part of the meetings of UPC and so forth, must have said, you give us the resolution and we shall remove Rule. If you read my book, Oito Joke never recognized Rule as president. He always called him chairman.
He used to address him as chairman,
because
not as president.
Because he saw that all his life, the only president of Uganda has ever had is Obote, and he will never call anybody as president. And then, as I say, Rule sometimes didn't seek advice. A president who doesn't seek advice or receive advice is very dangerous. That's why Museveni has become dangerous, because he says he doesn't accept any advice. He's Tibuhaurua. Now, having said that, I was one day Attorney General. I was Attorney General, Minister of Justice. No, Attorney General. Because really, I didn't stay there very long as Minister of Justice. But I was.
How long was your term?
The term of UNDF should have been 2 years. But we were overthrown after 3 months.
Wow.
And again, if you read, Rude originally appointed me only Attorney General. And the minister was the late Professor Nabuderi.
From the East?
Yeah, and for me, I had refused to take office. But when Rude came back, after Moshi, apparently there was a chorus everywhere, including government, that Kanyeihamba would be the best Attorney General under the circumstances.
So you qualified automatically?
So one day I was lecturing again. I always get this message, lecturing in visiting not Cardiff, Coventry. And the secretary of the university called me, you are receiving a very important phone from your wife in Cardiff. So I came to answer it. And my wife said, the new president of Uganda, Lule, wants to speak to you. I said, did he give you a phone? I said, yes. Then I talked to Lule at State House in Entebbe. I was in Cardiff. I said, what is it, Your Excellency? He said, I want you to come immediately. You have been appointed the Attorney General.
Of Uganda?
I wasn't appointed before, yeah. I said, excuse me, Mr. President, I told you I don't want to have an office in this UNF government. I'm academic, professional. I want to say at my university, people want you to come.
Yeah.
So eventually, I succumbed to the president's wish and came. But I was really swapped in because coming, I tell you, my story can go on for 2 days. Princess Bagaya called me when he had I was the new Attorney General of Uganda. She was also in exile in London. And she said, George, I said, yeah, I'm told you are going back to Uganda as Attorney General. I said, I have not accepted yet. She knew my background because I had refused. I said, but I am going to see the president because he has called me.
Yeah.
So she said, can you give me a lift? That's how she put it. Can you give me a lift when you are going?
A lift from London to Kampala?
Yes. I said, yes, we are going by British Airways to Nairobi, then from Nairobi to Kenya Airways. I can go with you, I have no problem. She said, please give me. He said, when will you be leaving at Gatwick? Rather Heathrow. I told him the time, the flight number. So he said, I will be there. Then somebody accompanied me to the airport. And when I reached there, there were 3 big trunks full of things I don't know. Very huge. Written there, Princess Elizabeth Bagaya of Toro, care of Kanyeihamba, the Attorney General of Uganda.
That was at Heathrow International Airport or Entebbe?
No, I told you the bus. She brought those boxes at Heathrow in London.
Okay.
For her to get a lift with me going to Entebbe. And they were waiting there to be put in the plane. But the British were very kind. Even if I had been carrying a car, they would have brought it. They brought them for nothing.
Yeah.
Just to cut that story short.
Yeah.
You know, by the way, I have not finished my story with Andrew.
Yeah, you haven't.
Let me finish that one.
Yeah.
So when we finished Moshi, Andrew and I, we had been we thought very clever. Both of us were external examiners at Nairobi University. So we had asked Nairobi registrar earlier to issue us letters as external examiners, inviting us to come to Nairobi. Andrew had his letter, I had mine. So when we finished Moshi, remember, we were staying together all the time. Even at Moshi, we stayed at the bedroom. So we planned with Professor Tandon, and you can interview him because he's in Uganda now.
Yeah.
To take a taxi from Moshi via Namanga to Nairobi. It's not very far.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. We hired the taxi. The three of us. We put in our baggage to go to Nairobi, where we would fly, turn on to Lusaka, me to London, and Andrew Kaira to Washington from Nairobi airport. But we carried our letters, the two of us. I don't know what Professor Tando had. So we go to Namanga. Two of us are arrested immediately. Dr. Kaira and me. They said, we believe you are Ugandans who are trying to overthrow our friendly government of Idi Amin in Uganda. And the instructions we have
To arrest you.
is to arrest you and hand over.
To the Ugandan
Hand you over
government.
to the Ugandan authorities at the border. I mean, he knows what to do with you. So we arrested Kaira and I on Namanga. So I said, excuse me, until making a mistake, very confidently. You see what do you mean?
Who said that? You or
me?
Hey,
I said,
you're telling officers.
This man, here is my letter. I don't know what you're talking about, Moshi, whatever. I am external examiner. I just passed through Nairobi. We are on our way to Dar es Salaam to examine. The letter was clear. That month I was an examiner. The man looked at it. Kaira looked at him. He didn't even read them. He put them there. So he said, please, so for us, what is happening in Moshi, by the way? He said, excuse me, come and see. He never said, he said, come and see. Now there was a monitor. I don't know whether he had a video or whatever. So he put on a button in the immigration office there. And who is there? Kanyeihamba addressing Moshi.
An external lecturer.
with the Andrew sitting next to me on the platform.
Who recorded it? Who recorded?
The Kenya security forces. They must have gone to Tanzania, and they were there when we were there opening. They were everywhere, recording everything.
Okay.
So recording all Ugandans who are arriving, who were addressing the meeting. That's how they got it. So, and actually looks at me and we laugh. So I say,
Who said that?
Andrew said.
In Uganda?
In Uganda.
Game over.
To be killed, to be surgery. Then I said, excuse me, we were fighting to save our country from Aminism. But you are right, we were there. But we were being patriotic. And we are sure that if anything ever happened like it happened in Uganda, you would do the same. So Andrew said, please, can you help us? They said, what? Give us some paper to andikira abafe by families abafe tubabulira ekibaddewo.
Why was Andrew using Luganda?
Andrew and I? No, whenever we were using English or Uganda, depending on the circumstances. But now he's talking to the Kenyans, so English.
Okay.
He said, please, can you give us some papers?
We write to our
to write
relatives.
To write it to our families and inform them what had happened to us. So they said, the man said, okay, I'll give you papers.
Yeah.
So I said, Andrew, well, I don't know whether we shall become heroes or villains or bandits. Andrew said, it depends on whether Rule survives or, regains power. So if he regains power, we are bandits who tried to overthrow him. If Rule survives, we are going to die as heroes. Those were the last words I heard from Andrew on that day. Then as we wrote to our families, saying goodbye, a tall Kalanjini man came in uniform of the Migration Department.
Yeah.
So he said, so you are the people who wanted to overthrow Idi Amin. I said, here is another one mocking us. So we said, no, sir, we were trying to save Uganda, not to overthrow Idi Amin. He said, what is the difference? Then, this is here again I cry. So he said, brothers, no Kenyan apart from the government likes what men is doing to you and to your people. So my colleagues and I, we have decided to disobey
the orders.
The president, and instead of handing you over to the authorities to Uganda, we are deporting you back to Tanzania. Poor Kairaka, he died. If he was here, I would have embraced him and we cried together. We just fell down on our knees in front of that man, kiss his legs and hold them like they're alive, as if they're the legs. Thank you, brother, thank you.
Tuli ku Extradigest mugoba nsonga, tuli ne Professor George Wilson Kanyeihamba, tuli makage, nga bwezizemba nyonyola story ye erimu moments ezimenya omutima byayisemu okutuuka olwaleero wano w'omulabira bingi nnyo. Buli lwogenda ekkololo oba buli lwowulira nti nnaku z'omwezi 9 October nga Uganda celebrating independence, abantu nga bano balina ettaffaali ly'amaanyi nnyo ku bwetwaze oba obwetwaze bwa Uganda oba obukulembeze bwa Uganda okuva lwe yafuna independence n'okutuusa olwaleero emboozi yaabwe gye banyumya y'amaanyi nnyo. So moment ezo zijja amenyeka omutima buli lwajjukira nti awangadde era akyali mulamu we tumusangidde wano. Ali mu myaka 82 naye events zonna azijjukira bulungi nnyo. Yes, Uncle George.
So
komyewo gy'oli.
My passport is somewhere. They stamped a prohibited immigrant undesirable in Kenya. You're hereby deported
to Tanzania.
And when we came out of the building, these people were very, very kind. The taxi which had brought it, they had stopped it going.
They had held it somewhere?
Yes. So they say, your taxi is there, go back.
To where you're coming from?
To Moshi. And that's how Andrew and I
survived.
Escaped the death from Idi Amin.
Had they handed you over to Amin, you'd be no more.
Oh, we would have been killed immediately. We would have been eliminated. Amin was a killer and his people were thirsty killers. We have no doubt whatsoever had the immigration senior officers at Amanga not disobeyed.
Professor, just to cut you short about
we would have died.
There is a saying nowadays, there is when it comes to human rights, people portray Idi Amin as a killer and an abuser of human rights.
Yes.
But when it comes to development, for the love he had for Uganda and development, people come out and praise him.
Yeah, he did some good work. Just Museveni has done a lot of work here. But I criticize him. You see, I am a Christian. I believe very, very strongly in the power and the love of God.
Yeah.
But I also believe the story of Judas Iscariot is correct. In that Jesus very carefully selected his disciples. Just as the Ugandans very carefully selected Museveni. But he can betray you. People change. So Judas Iscariot betrayed God. How are we safe trusting ourselves with the people who are mortal like Museveni? Ours is more tenuous, less tenuous than that of God. So, yes, I have argued many times. My cousin called Joseph Bitwali, many people in Uganda called Bitwali. They published an obituary of Dr. Byamujisha today, and they messed up the names to the extent that they called Byamujisha a judge, but he never was a judge. He was only a counsel, senior counsel, and at one time even chairman of the Law Council of Uganda, but rather a law society. But what I was saying, a cousin of mine called Joseph Bitwali, who at one time was the General Secretary of Kigezi. When I was in the UK, I saw on TV him and other Ugandans being executed by Idi Amin. Remember those people, they paraded in every town and shot. He was one of them.
Sorry.
My own brother I follow was called Yoweri Badiakaleba. Disappeared in massacre where people are being killed. Just at the time Amin was coming in power. We never found his body or nothing at all.
Till now.
And that time he was in Uganda teaching at Makerere. He disappeared. We never found his body. Never found the letters I had written to the people at home. Nothing at all. So I have had a share of misery and the pain in the heart. The good thing, I believe in God, in Allah the Great.
Yeah.
And I think I am alive because I have never feared Museveni. I respect him, I recognize him as the president of Uganda. Although now I think he has forfeited the right to continue governing this country. And finally, on this point, Ugandans, we don't have a reading culture. Even if we have, we don't even appreciate what we are reading. Because if you read my latest publication, challenging presidential elections, you cannot be left in any doubt that Museveni has served this country in a mixed form, and at this age and the time of governance after 34 years, 35 years, really, he has become a liability a liability to this country.
Professor?
The man that said that when the president has overstayed for more than 2 terms, is a liability, is the one who reviewed my book. Professor Olokwa Onyango of Makerere. I want to ask you a favor. And then you read that one as we conclude my contribution to do. You read here. That is a very good...
But before I read this, just a quick one.
Yes.
According to the president, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, many claim Ugandans are tired of him.
Yes.
He claims
but that
they vote
true.
him into power. They vote him into power.
Read that. Challenging presidential has ever won.
But they announce him as
the only election he has ever won.
Yeah.
Even though there were some allegations of corruption. Is the one before we made the constitution.
Say it again.
What was that one?
That is the only elections he has won.
Yes. But he hasn't had any. Judges, do you believe judges are very intelligent people? Do you believe judges speak the truth if they are not intimidated?
I do.
So let me ask you. We have had 4 elections. In each of them, more or less unanimously, judges have said there was
some irregularities.
Vote rigging. The law was not obeyed. Tell me, if you don't obey the law, which includes the constitution, shouldn't what you do be nullified? In 2001, all the judges found a fault with the election. But answering the last question, which I am attacking in my thing, did it make any difference? I want us to dwell on that. Did it make any difference? Let me ask you. Supposing I am a ruthless president. And I intimidate everybody not to vote. I shoot those who support the opposition. I carry those who support me, give them money to go and vote. Would my vote increase or will it decrease?
Of course it will decrease.
It would increase. Thank you for answering that question. Now, supposing I disobeyed the Constitution, I violated the Constitution. Supposing the police intimidated everybody. Supposing I stuffed in votes on my side. Would it therefore make any difference to the result that I won? Would it?
No.
No, thank you very much. That is what is wrong with our law. The Constitution, I have put it there. Article 104. Please, you told me you have this booklet of mine, Challenging Presidential. Read it again, slowly. Then they bribed the MPs with 5 million shillings to insert, not to change the Constitution is okay.
But to insert?
To insert in the Presidential Election Act, paragraph A of clause 6 of section 59 of the Presidential Election Act, I want to repeat that one so that your viewers can write it down. Please, if you are listening to me or seeing me, write this down. Paragraph A, subsection 6 of Section 59 of the Presidential Elections Act is a fraud on the judiciary, is intended to intimidate the judiciary. It is in conflict with the provisions of the Constitution, Article 104. And I have written in my book that the first thing, the 11th Parliament, where the opposition is dominated by people who support Centum, they should make a motion in the Parliament removing paragraph A.
You are now advising them.
Yes. And I'm asking you to read it. And don't move anywhere, simply say paragraph A, paragraph A. So say, I have read it, it is paragraph A of clause 6 of section 59.
Yeah. It should be removed.
I want it to be emphasized. Let everybody who is listening to me repeat paragraph A, subsection 6.
Section
59 of the Presidential Election Act is a fraud on this country. And it is the one which has been justifying Museveni's election, every general election.
Which parliament inserted it in the Constitution?
Either the 6th or the 7th Parliament.
Okay.
I'm not sure. It's one of those. But if the 11th Parliament does not delete it, then it is not a parliament. Tell them Kanyeihamba has challenged you.
If they fail to delete it,
they should delete it. It doesn't need even argument or debate. It is iniquitous, it is false, and is intended to justify always, no matter what, the leader of the NRM winning.
Professor, I can't let you go minus asking you, of late, just in the news and on TV, I think you've been watching news in regard to the president and the judiciary, where the president came out and said those of high-profile crimes, those who have committed high-profile crimes, like murder, among others, should not be given bail.
The president is wrong. And the Chief Justice who upholds the right to apply for bail is absolutely correct. The right to apply for bail is circumscribed, is a human right we put in our constitution, which is unalterable under any circumstances. And therefore, in short, those who are opposed to removing it or to lessening it are correct, and President Museveni, and those who say should be revisited are wrong. The right to apply for bail should never be touched at all. It is untouchable. And I heard that the president talk the other day, blaming Justice Odochi, who chaired the commission, Constitutional Commission. President Museveni is in error, great error, and being very, very unwise and unfair to Justice Odochi. The Constitution of 1995 was not made by Odochi.
It is you people.
It is me
Yeah.
and the other delegates
Yeah.
in the CA.
Yeah.
Every word and its implication were displayed by a committee of more than 20 lawyers to put it there.
Yeah.
Although she was not even a member of the Constituent Assembly. Museveni really, it is amazing to me that really has reached the last limit. He doesn't remember what happened in the CA. Although she made a mistake, where? Odochi was chairman. If you ask people like Matende and other members of the Constitutional Commission, he was a gentle chairman. He hardly ever proposed this, but he only chaired. So how can the president believe it is the fault of Odochi? It is a shame.
Professor, you people were part of the making of the 1995 Constitution of Uganda.
Yes.
Do you think Uganda has achieved the goals, objectives of promoting human rights?
Oh yes. Really, we are back to the story of Judas Iscariot. We made the best constitution we could. The Constitutional Review Commission traveled the lengths and the breadth of the whole world, went to Ghana, went to USA, UK, South Africa, choosing the best.
Yeah.
And then it took about 4 years for them to gather the evidence.
Yeah.
They went to Gombolola's headquarters, finding out the views of Ugandans. And when we made it, those of us who represented the people, Museveni was our guest on Promulgation Day. And he's on record as having said, Ugandans have made the best constitution ever.
Those
and
were
I
his
will
words.
go to those were his words. And I will go in the bush once more if anyone tampers with it. Those is Museveni. We had talked about bail about 10 years ago. The
About term limit, age limit.
I will come to that. But something like 10 years ago, the security forces, led by the army, attacked the High Court for releasing suspects who were granted bail.
By the court.
Yes. And there was an outcry in the whole world. International community were shocked and complained. And the President Museveni apologized. Said, I am sorry these things happened. They will never happen again. And he called all the judges to Nakasero State House and apologized with Odochi in the chair, or rather leading the judges. And he gave us a cup of tea. President Museveni. We went on a strike. The judges went on a strike.
Yeah.
For a week. But he repeated it. And yet Ugandans, you don't see Kanyehamba's point of view. Why? Because there is nothing as dangerous and as evil as political fear. Political fear has grabbed Uganda everywhere. He will kill me. The army will kill me. How come Kanyeihamba has been a critic of the kind of government we have for many decades? and he's still alive. Okay, I have suffered physical torture. I have been deprived of a post I loved, being a judge of the African Court on Human and People's Rights. I was rejected to be Vice Chancellor of Makerere because of these machinations. But my spirit is very strong. And at this age, I have founded the Kanyeihamba Foundation, which stands for integrity, transparency, accountability, and fearlessness from government machination. Believe in God.
Yeah.
And everything shall be okay.
Professor, we can't leave here minus talking about the parliament, the past parliaments and the current parliament, plus the future parliament of Uganda. Someone out there would love to know, how should parliament be? How should parliament behave? How should parliament represent Ugandans? What should people expect from parliament? Now, my question is about the reputation of parliament.
I wrote an article.
Yeah.
And my books also emphasize
Yeah.
that the parliament is the representative of the people.
Absolutely.
We elect members democratically,
Yeah.
in free, fair, and regular elections.
Yeah.
We even have a right to recall members of parliament who don't perform,
Yeah.
or who perform to our disgust. So, Article 1 of the Uganda Constitution is very clear. Power belongs to the people.
Absolutely.
Just as we put in the Constitution, land belongs to the people of Uganda, and the Museveni wants it to belong to the government. You are aware of the Constitution? Subsection 2, Character 1 says, this Constitution is supreme law of the land, and any other land which conflicts with it is null and void, at any rate to the extent of inconsistency. All those are our Constitution. Commentators elsewhere have said that chapter 4 of our Constitution, which deals with the fundamental rights and freedoms,
Yeah.
is the best in the world, anywhere. But people deserve the liberty they allow the government to allow them. Let me tell you two incidents involving me personally. When I first came to Uganda as a minister, I wasn't there so long, but I served my full term as a minister under Museveni. When I came, you know these people who accompany money to different banks.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have got a vehicle,
Bullion van.
and the people have got arms. So one time I was going to Kabale, and there was a long queue, rather a long traffic jam on Mitiana Masaka Road. Why are not moving? I said, why are we not moving? They
So
said,
you got concerned.
yeah, I got concerned.
Yeah.
And they said that there was a slow vehicle in front of us. They were accompanying money to a bank in Masaka, and we can't pass it. I said, why? Because they will shoot you. They think you come to rob. I said, what? I have got my bodyguard here, my driver. Why would they shoot me if I am on my road and I'm saying? So I told my driver.
Overtake them.
I said, overtake. He said, no, sir, I cannot. It's against the law. I said, where is the law? I said,
where is the law?
yes. I said, what is the law? He said, sir, it is there.
Where?
And then I said, I will drive. Fortunately, in those days, I wasn't in a wheelchair, so I could drive. I said, if you can't, I'm driving within the next half a minute. If you don't, I will drive myself.
Yeah.
So I think he said, I might be killed by my boss, Kanyeihamba, or by the army. So he tried the army. So he indicated, and he passed through. Then when everybody saw, they also followed us, and we passed. Nobody disturbed us. Then every time it happened, I did it. In fact, one of the reporters said, Kanyeihamba people fear him. He can overpass a vehicle carrying this money. And therefore, unless you are threatening them. But if you say you are a judge, you are on the president may be having a meeting up country. Then he said, come at 10. You
must keep time.
This car which is going to the bank. I said, you are not allowed to pass it away here. So that one I broke. Then there was another one. This is one of my rules. I discovered that the revenue authority
URA
can sue you if you don't pay tax.
Definitely.
Or you don't pay enough.
Yes.
But you can't sue the revenue for either overcharging you or for doing that. So in a famous case, I gave the lead judgment, and they said the thing should be speakable. If you can sue the revenue,
if they can sue you,
you can also sue them. And it was accepted, and my colleagues agreed with me. So I moved a new rule there. Finally, my then Chief Justice was Wambuzi. Very nice man. He's now in his
Wambuzi.
Yes, he's still there in his 90s, and he's recently finished writing a book. And one day I was playing golf. There are rules of golf which you have to obey. At one time I was the deputy chairman of the Uganda Golf Club Board of Trustees. So one day, quite rightly, something very urgent turned up. And he called the meeting in the afternoon of a Wednesday when I was already playing golf.
You are at the golf course playing
at the
golf.
golf course. Then the message came urgently, the Chief Justice wants you. I said, let me talk to him. I said, excuse me, I am in the middle of a game of golf. There are certain rules of golf. I can't break them. They will punish me. He sighed. He said, George, really? Okay, we shall have the meeting tomorrow. Because really, I was telling him the truth. I was telling him the truth. People are afraid to tell the truth. I was telling you, so one of the younger people.
You told him the truth.
Me. I said, he said, they have refused me to do this. I said, who has? He gets angry with me. Instead of telling me who, he doesn't want to say because he's afraid of the other person. So he's rather abusing me than the other person who is refusing him this. We have a problem, and this is the danger of letting fear govern your situation. I wrote an article where judges were, where one minister, when I ruled against the NRM, in one case I ruled against the NRM, and one minister said, Kanyeihamba is ungrateful. how can he bite the hand that
feeds him?
Yes. Then I said, this man doesn't understand what judiciary is about, whatever.
Yeah.
But another one, Mulira of Toronto, wrote in the Monitor, praising me in the case of Samuel Gerere versus the Attorney General. Because again, in that case, I gave a lead judgment in which I said that Samuel Gerere and Cecilia Ogwal were correct to challenge a certain law.
Yeah.
And the Munir said that the news that Kanyeihamba, a pillar of the movement, to find in favor of Samuel Gerere, a political opponent of long standing, is too good to be true. But there was nothing to praise for me. Once you are made a judge, then you must behave in accordance with judicial ethics and the law. Yeah. Not with the Museveni. Or because he's just an individual. And appointing judges is one of his functions as president.
As a president.
If he didn't appoint judges, we would impeach him for failing to do his duty. But one after the other comes, he appointed me judge, I'm good. Where? He never appointed you. He didn't even know you before. Apart from those he knows as cadres. And if he appoints a cadre, he's also wrong. We're not supposed to appoint a cadre because he's a cadre, but because he's a qualified candidate to be a judge.
Yeah.
This is where I have a problem with my people. There is no loyalty in these jobs. That is why on 2 occasions I ruled against Museveni, because the law was on the side of the litigant than on the side of government. One judge one time whispered to me, said, you know, I can't do this because of where I come from. I said, what has that to do with it?
Professor, just a quick one. Let us talk about the doctrine of separation of power.
Yes.
What is your take over that?
Well, that's a doctrine that is associated with a Frenchman called Montesquieu, and I describe it very fully in all my books on constitutional law. Yeah. Namely, Evolution of Constitutional Law, Government and the Public Law, and in Constitutional Law of Uganda and the Government. It has now become...
Has the doctrine been compromised?
Oh yes, in Uganda it has. In Uganda it doesn't exist anymore. We put it in our constitution. And I wrote in my book, one of those books on public law, that separation of powers means separating the functions of the government so that they are performed by different people who are independent. So you have in the judiciary exercise judicial powers, but independent of the judiciary and the parliament. You have parliament making laws independent of the executive and of the judiciary. And finally, when the executive is planning the budget and formulating policies, it should not be interfered with by the judiciary or by the parliament. That is what is substance. It means it's separation of powers. But in Uganda, unfortunately, the theory has been forgotten, harassed, and outlawed. And what we have is fusion of powers, with the executive exercising all the 3 functions of government. What do I mean by that? Today, you cannot be appointed a judge unless the president says so.
Sure.
You can't. Therefore, in practice, those judicial powers of appointing judges have been fused with those of the executive. Now the president nominates and appoints. I don't think this is Kanyeihamba saying so. Many documents are saying so. The newspapers report, New Vision and Daily Monitor. The president has appointed Mr. X, Chief Justice. He's appointed so and so. Especially judges. The judicial function, which is still performed judicially, is the appointment and dismissal of junior officials in the judiciary, like registrars and the small magistrates. Those are still done by the Judicial Service Commission. But Museveni has taken over the role of nominating and appointing judges, including his own cadres. The late Justice Sekoko, John Sekoko, who was always very careful not to criticize the executive, made a statement before his death that he regrets the cadreship which has now taken over the judiciary, meaning the president is now
appointing cadres
to become judges, and not the Judicial Service Commission. The former Chief Justice, Bata Katurebe, commissioned me to investigate the allegations of corruption, abuse of office, and incompetence in the judiciary. I named 7 judges
who are corrupt,
who are alleged to be corrupt, including 3 who were given to me by the Chief Justice himself, Bata Katurebe. I gave the copy of my report to the President's office. I gave a copy to the Judicial Service Commission directly because the President, the Chief Justice had refused to remit my submissions to the copy. The chairman of the Judicial Service Commission acknowledged my report. Then they called me for interview. The Judicial Service Commission. I interacted with about 3 of them who turned up on my report and confirmed the evidence, not the allegation, the evidence, concrete written evidence.
pinning them
down. The chairman of the Judicial Service Commission has never responded to me.
till now.
Yes, but I got a letter from some scribbled signature by a clerk from the Judicial Service Commission said the following, and the name of all the judges I have faulted and the magistrates that they were cleared. Then I wrote to the Judicial Service Commission, to the chairman. I said, please give me evidence of how this came to be cleared. He has never responded. Then later, Museveni was also complaining there are people who are corrupt
in the judicial.
in the judiciary and elsewhere, ministers, never name them. But when they name people who are corrupt, or who receive the government money corruptly, including people like Basajja Balaba, Museveni said he should be asked to pay the money. The statement ends there, and you never know whether they paid the money.
So who should follow up? Who should follow up on such cases?
Isn't it you, my friend? Isn't it you journalists and reporters? Shouldn't you go into Museveni said on such and such a day?
You said such and such a statement.
But Basajja Balaba should be paying the money. Have they ever told you whether he paid it? It is Museveni, the Attorney General, the Director of Public Prosecutions,
DPP,
CID. Those are the people you should ask, not Kanyeihamba. I retired.
Professor,
and they don't have I don't have power there.
You need to go for lunch, but why who engineers the continued announcing of you being dead? Because on several occasions people have come out to announce.
When the Kabaka of Uganda called me, because he knows me, and I answered, and they said, you are reported dead. Well, I really don't know who does, but there is one politician who believes I am 90 or 100, and therefore when I say I'm 82, I am telling lies.
Who is that politician? Oh,
well, I don't mind mentioning him. He's called Habge. Habge was
he claims you are how old?
People told him that I am 82, and he said, no. Kanyeihamba is much older than that. I don't know why it is of interest for him to be. I have retired, I'm not seeking a job.
You're not seeking for any government office.
Yeah. But you were asking who declares dead. Now a man who doubts you are dead, say he should be much older than that. Would he be surprised if they told him you are dying? He said, yeah, he was already old. So I am saying where the sources come from. So somebody like Habge, a former MP for my constituency, is the kind of person who would pass a rumor of that kind. I'm only guessing. Habge has been the chairman. I wish you could find out for me. He has been the chairman of the airline board, and I've been wondering all along who recommended the Habge to be chairman of the board. You know it has gone down.
Doctor, why don't you take legal action?
Against who?
Against whoever claims you're dead when you're still alive, and whoever says you are you're beyond 82 years of age.
Younger man, what damage have they done to me? What kind of damage have they done? Apart from that, letting us laugh like this one. I told you I don't fear anything other than God. So for me, I laugh because if they say I'm dead, I'm alive, and I know it's only God who determines whether I'm dead or not.
This rumor
it doesn't worry me.
Spreads more on social media.
If I feared them, I wouldn't mention Habge. Because you ask Habge, he's still around. I don't think they have jailed him. They say they are going to jail those people who messed up the airline, Ugandan airline. But Habge is not one of them, presumably, because he can't make a decision. That's why the airline failed. But you find out, how did he become chairman of the board?
Hopefully he won't use such statements against you in courts of law that you allege is incompetent.
But he is incompetent. I can prove it.
I
can prove it, yes. I am the one who recommended me first to replace me as NP for Rwanda. I introduced him to the church, both Catholic and Protestant, Rwanda. I took him, we were in church together. I said, this is our next MP. Then he promised he's going to make the bridge. There is a swamp near our area in the constituency. But he never did anything. That is incompetence. If you promise to do something and you don't do it. And he's never
Maybe
explained.
he did get the money from central government.
Are you his spokesman now?
Doctor, thank you so much for your time.
Because you see, I was a representative in that area.
Yeah.
You ask, Kanyeihamba has got a hostel in Rwanda named after him. Kanyeihamba hostel. There is a road called Kanyeihamba Road. Why? Because I developed the area. They still remember.
Professor,
Okay.
Are you on social media?
What is social media? There is one media called Alternative Digital, which interviews me from time to time. But personally, I'm not on to say this is my address.
We have Facebook, Instagram,
No,
Twitter.
I don't.
You're not?
No, I don't, no.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You are welcome.
Thank you so much for your time. We are
Very
so
nice
honored.
hosting you. And as you can see, you've been here for an hour or so.
Yeah.
I am still very strong. You are the one who has given up.
We shall come back again.
Okay, please do.
Next time we shall arrange and come. Thank you so much for having a nice art piece.
Thank
I've
you.
Loved, the
This
art.
we are not there, but I wish you could be there, or you put it on. Friends of mine and I have founded Kanyeihamba Foundation, which stands for integrity, national conscious, transparency.
Yeah.
And I want you people, including you, will get an invitation to be members.
We will.
Especially the younger people. Some are waiting to see me from
in
lawyers.
Islam, we say, Inshallah, God willing.
Okay, fine.
Thank you so much, Professor.
Inshallah.
Nice artwork.
And
nice
read
art
my
piece.
book on Islam, since you are a Muslim.
Yeah, I will.
It's called Kanyeihamba's Reflections on Muslim Leadership Crisis in Uganda.
Actually, the next time we come back here, we shall tackle that.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Those are younger people who are coming for Kanyeihamba Foundation.
Wow.
Some of them are lawyers. I think they are all
Maybe they
lawyers.
should come here and pose for a picture.
Yeah, you come in. Come in. Come in.
Come in and stand behind here.
Oh, they are quite a few.
They are very smart, eh?
So it is the Kanyeihamba Foundation.
Yeah.
But the people believe in it. And what it stands for, not in this old man.
Yeah.
As I have told you, you said, why don't you sue people who are saying you are dying? I said, why? What damage have they done to me? Nothing. They're just amusing you.
Wow.
How are you, young ladies and gentlemen? You wanted a picture here.
Yeah.
So you can tell your readers, since some of them are from overseas, that's why I was there, a delegation of younger people who are anxious to join the Kanyeihamba Foundation visited me.
Yeah. I will tell the world.
Okay, you do.
Let me take this with my phone. Actually, even the big cameras are taking.
Okay.
Good one. Professor,
Yes.
Uncle George,
Yes.
thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for coming.
I love you so much.
You are a very good interviewer.
Thank you so much.
Interviewer.
Thank you so much for appreciating.
You are welcome.
I'll come back next time.
Please
we shall
do.
handle other issues. Of course, the world needs to hear
So
from you.
this will go on the media immediately or sometime in the future or what?
Immediately.
Okay, fine.
Okay, kale, tubadde ku extra digest mugoba nsonga. Now I turn back to Uganda to sign out.
Olwogera bulungi.
Ndwogera bulungi. Abantu bano baweeyoka ebigambo by'Oluganda bitono nnyo. Otumire ne ku bantu.
Basewo na banyabo nsanyuse nnyo kulaba nti YouTube eze wano n'enkyalira ate nga mulabye abantu bangi bankyalira nnyo.
Yes, sir.
Kubanga kano egenda kufuuka ofiisi ndinamu nankane agenda kunyambako ate memba wa Kanyeihamba Foundation y'omukyala n'omwami Sentamu Kyagulanyi ate n'omwami Nobert Mau nabo ba members
Senkulu wa DP
Senkulu wa DP ne nankani bwe twalonkinga ekitabo kino kya Evolution of Constitutional Public Law ne Government nankani current speaker wa parliament Olanya yali mujene mugenyi mukuru nayo go obugambo bulungi nnyo ku byenkoledde Uganda bwe mulabe mujja wano abasirikale n'abagoba kubanga bali nga bonoona nnyo ng'omulamuzi awuumudde nandibadde nina abasirikale ba poliisi wano naye bankola bubi nnyo nnyo. Prime Minister oyo alekudde Wakana Lugunda mukwano gwange n'agamba funa abalala kyekyo kiriwo
kale
mbala omukiza nnyo
tweyanzege Uncle George tujja kuba twongera okukyalira njagala kubaza bana Uganda abawangaliye Uganda abawangaliye emitala y'amayanja banga libadde ddene nnyo nga muŋŋamba ndeete Professor George Wilson Kanyeihamba era nga alhamdulillah twebaza Allah yatonda eggulu n'ensi atusobosezza okumufuna olunaku lwaleero tujja kubanga twongera okumunoonyaako mbagaliza birungi byerere
nga sinnabakufa
ya kituufu ekyo Uncle George oli mutuufu nnyo Uncle George so mbagaliza birungi byerere omukama katonda abakuume assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh Idris Lukwago webale Daniel Mugoya webale ne Keith Kanabile Tone Senabuli amwebale nyumba dala Allah abakuume insha Allah Uncle George Allah akukuume
webale nnyo Allah inshallah and omanyi nanka nkyeyayogera the rector of the oldest university in the world Muhammad bwe bamugamba nti lwakyolesi omukristaayo kuza mu nsonga z'abasiraamu bamubuule Kampala n'abagamba nti mwe muli basiraamu temumanyi nti Allah akozesa buli muntu yenna asaanira to solve Muslim problems ne basirika. So my book called Kanyeihamba's Commentaries on Uganda Muslim Crisis is a textbook, is used at the Islamic University at Mbale and was recommended by Abud Kasozi, who was a professor there, who said that he has never seen a non-Muslim write so lovingly on Islam affairs. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Uncle George. Mubere bulungi. See you next time. Love you all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.